In a few minutes, I'll sign H.R. 1735, the National Defense Authorization Act. I want to thank my colleagues that are here for all of their hard work they put into this bill. Now, there's a reason we call this a National Defense Bill. It fulfills our country's commitment to protect our troops with the resources they need to protect our country and to come home safely. In that spirit, it's written in a bipartisan fashion, and we've passed it now for 53 consecutive years. In a time of grave threats, setting these priorities isn't just an annual ritual, it's a vital responsibility. And unfortunately, the President has threatened to veto the National Defense Authorization Bill. Listen, I recognize that the President wants to make a point about spending, but there are certainly ways to do that that don't involve putting our troops in the middle. And there's no need, and frankly, no place for any politics here. So I hope the President will do the right thing and sign this bill for our troops and their families. Senator McConnell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our leader on national defense in the Senate is Senator John McCain. He not only put together a bipartisan proposal in the Senate, but worked with the House to come up with this final product. It got 73 votes in the United States Senate. We have the votes to override the veto. I hope that will happen in the House. This is a bill that richly deserves to become law. I'm frankly stunned that the President is suggesting he may veto it. If he does, I hope we'll be able to override his veto. And as I said, there's no question who the leader is in the United States Senate on defense issues, and I'm happy to turn it over to Chairman McCain.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Majority Leader McConnell, and my friend and co-author and leader, Congressman Chairman Mac Thornberry. The bill enjoys, as the Speaker said, the bill enjoys bipartisan support. 22-4 vote in the Senate Armed Services Committee, 71-25 in the United States Senate. The United States is threatening to veto the legislation because of disagreements about broader spending issues unrelated to defense. This bill is a policy bill. It doesn't spend a single dime. The veto threat is about one thing only, and only one thing, and that is politics. The President wants to take a stand for greater domestic spending by playing politics with our national security. Vetoing this bill will not solve the spending debate. It will not stop sequestration. That's something that can only be done through the appropriations process, not a defense authorization bill. It would be misguided and dangerous to deny our troops the authorities they need to defend the nation. It fully supports the President's budget request for national defense of $604 billion. It identifies $11 billion in waste and unnecessary spending. It supports more fighter aircraft, accelerated shipbuilding, better cyber defenses, and $300 million for assistance to Ukraine. More importantly, it maintains the quality of life for service members and their families while addressing the needs of our wounded, ill, and injured service members. It enhances protection against military sexual assault. It modernizes an outdated 70-year-old military retirement system. It includes the most sweeping reforms of our defense acquisition system in 30 years. It makes significant reforms in defense management, and it bans torture once and for all. It empowers commanders to permit a member of the armed forces to carry firearms at DoD installations, reserve centers, and recruiting centers. It provides our armed forces the authorities they need to defend our nation as we confront the most diverse and complex array of crises since the end of World War II. $300 million for Ukraine, increases funding for U.S. capabilities and technologies. China provides $50 million to assist and train our allies in the Asia Pacific, on and on. You'll notice that this is authorization, and it's about policies and ways to defend this country. If the President of the United States vetoes this bill, you can only reach one conclusion, and that is the President of the United States is more concerned about a budgetary issue and non-defense spending than he is about defending this nation and the welfare and protection of the men and women who serve it in uniform.
As the Speaker mentioned, for 53 straight years, Congresses of both parties have passed, and presidents of both parties have signed into law defense authorization bills. Now, there have been 4 times over the last 53 years that the bill has been vetoed, always because of something that was in it. And so Congress made an adjustment and the President quickly signed it into law. There is no adjustment that we can make in this defense authorization bill that meets the objections of the President. Instead, he would be vetoing all the reforms that Chairman McCain talked about. He has complained that some of our operation and maintenance funding is listed as OCO rather than listing as base. But the question I want to leave you with is, if you are a United States service member today in Afghanistan, Iraq, somewhere in Africa, or stationed in the United States, do you really care what budget category your support and maintenance comes from? I don't think so. This is an inside Washington political game at the expense of our nation's security and support for our troops. As was mentioned, this is a bipartisan bill. Surely they deserve to see the institutions of government function for the benefit of our national security. I hope they do.
Sign the bill.